I'm going to do this video a little bit different today. Working on the MX180 metal lathe. I had a quick change tool post on here and I took it off and swapped it back to the original tool post for this project. What I'm wanting to do is add this cross slide, put it on here. Get some light duty milling capabilities out of this. Seen a couple people do it. One person specifically did it with this cross slide, and the way he did it is he had a plate on the back of here that would bolt down and bolts that would go through and bolt onto this, and he was using the original tool post. I like that idea, but I want to improve on it a little bit, so I'm going to make it a little bit more rigid. I'm going to do 1/4 inch plate on the whole front of this, covering the whole back of the cross slide. And it'll bolt down on the front, not the back. And the whole cross slide will be bolted to the 1/4 inch plate. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be done a little bit different. Not going to do any voiceover, not going to do any talking really while I'm doing the video. Just going to get to work and do it, and we'll see what happens. Alright, bracket's done. You saw that I already had it mounted up. I guess it's time to test it. A little nervous. So, what I think I'm going to do is just put a piece of wood on here first. And then I'll move on to a piece of aluminum. And I doubt I'll try steel, but we'll see how it goes with aluminum. So I'll just put a block of wood on here and we'll play around with it a little bit. The clamps that I'm using are the ones that come with this cross slide. If I can, maybe not, I don't know. Yeah, that'll work for right now. So the way it goes together is the workpiece sits in right there, clamp sits on these steps here in the back, tightens down, holds down on the workpiece. I'm figuring that it's going to be next to impossible to get stuff mounted up securely with it in place right here using these clamps. So I was setting it down here, going to mount it up down here, and then we'll install it back onto the lathe and fire it up. Alright, I've got a 1/4 inch 4 flute end mill here. Go ahead and put her in the chuck. Now, I'm not all that big of a fan of putting end mills in here like this. I'd much rather have it in a collet holder. But this works for now. I've got a really big collet holder that I need to make a rod for, and then we can chuck it up in the lathe. And that's probably what I'll do in the future. But, alright, let's try it out. Alright, so I grabbed this piece because it's already got some relief cuts into it from a project that I was working on before with a CNC mill, just playing around with it. So I'm going to use those as points of entry instead of having to plunge into the aluminum. Still using the same 4 flute 1/4 inch end mill. Let's see how this goes. Start out with a lower RPM. Just see what happens. Doing a pretty shallow cut. Just seeing how it handles it. I'm about to speed up a little bit. I was a little bit more aggressive with that cut. I'll try that again, but with more speed. Bump it up to about 2,000 RPMs. I'll try this again. All right, take a quick look here. Wow, that's actually impressive. That looks really good. Alright, so with the 1/2 inch, it's too big to go into these reliefs that I already have on there. So I am going to have to plunge a little bit, but I'm going to do the plunge over the relief so it's not taking the full bite that it would otherwise. But safety glasses on. Let's see what we get here. Let's start out with a little bit higher RPM since it is a larger bit. Go about 1,500 RPMs and just lightly ease into it. So it just shifted the whole, I don't know if you guys could see that, it's shifting the whole thing. That's the backlash and the screws on here. Alright, let's see what it does. Bogging the motor down a little bit, that's for sure. Okay. Let's go ahead and back it back on out of there. Go ahead and turn the speed up a little bit. We'll go to about 1,800, maybe. It's a little scary. Okay. Pretty good at that speed. Couldn't really tell you exactly how much of a cut we're doing here. I'm going to zero it on this next pass. And we'll see. We'll zero it out here. So we're going to go. Oh. getting a lot of chatter in it. Let's see here. So that was about 0.6 millimeters. Sorry, I only work in metric. I don't really mess with standard. And that's because all these machines, all this Chinese equipment, everything's in metric. And that's just what I learned from the beginning. Alright, so this is the 1/4 inch end mill, and this was, I said 1/2 inch earlier, but it's technically 12 millimeters. This was actually a 1/4 inch end mill. This was a 12 millimeter. So this one, the surface finish, you can see some lines in it, but it's actually pretty smooth. The walls right here are real nice and smooth. It actually, there's not much burring on the edges here where the material kind of like mushroomed up and out. It actually looks pretty good. It's not bad at all. The 1/2 inch, that's another story. It left a lot of chatter on the surface. There's a lot of chatter. You can see where the bit was the end mill was bouncing around in there. There's a lot of chatter on the edges. There's a little bit more burr left behind on this top edge. Definitely not as clean as what it did with the 1/4 inch. So this one probably would have turned out a lot better if I ran it at a much higher RPM. The first couple passes were at I believe 1500 RPMs, and then the last pass or two I stepped it up to 1800 RPMs. I probably should have been running that one closer to like 3000 RPMs. This one went up to 18 or 2000, but it turned out much better. I mean, this still works. If you're not building something for somebody or you don't need a perfect finish, this would have worked perfectly fine. This one looks a lot better. So if you needed that 1/2 inch, running the 1/4 inch 2 or 3 times to get that 1/2 inch pass, that one looks a lot better. And there wasn't as much chatter, or actually there was really no chatter with it. Looks pretty good. Alright, so there we have it. There's a few things that I would have done different if I were to do this over again, and I might. Instead of using whenever I use that 1/2 inch square tubing, I wanted to use 1/2 inch solid stock, and that's what I went to buy at the store, but they did not have it. And I wasn't going to make a long trip or run all over the place to find it. I've already got 3/8, but I determined that was too small. So 1/2 inch solid stock would be much better. But the stuff turned out, the 1/2 inch turned out pretty good for the height and the depth of it. It could be a little bit taller, like, I don't know, another 1/16 or so, but the depth is perfect. There's really no flex in it other than what's in the lathe itself, in the lathe's cross slide, and then, you know, the flex or the play in this. There's no flex from this section here, so that's pretty nice. Another thing I might do would be to add 2 bars coming back on both sides, welded into here, and then a side plate that's gusseted, triangulated, coming up and across something, I don't know. It actually did a pretty good job for that little bit that we just did there on the aluminum. I'm actually kind of blown away by it. Honestly, I didn't expect that to work out that nice. You know, how's this gonna hold up? Who knows? Is this comparable to the $600, $700, $800 mini mills that you get online? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I've not had one, so I can't compare it to that. I've actually been looking to buy one for the last several months, but nobody seems to have them, or if they do have them, they're marked up several $100s more than what they should be at, and I'm not paying that for them, knowing the quality of them. So this actually will probably get me through most any of the projects that I were to come up with. This slide is not the cheapest one that you can get on Amazon, eBay, wherever. I did get this off of Amazon. This one was like 60 bucks. There's another one that's smaller and cheaper for like 30, 35. This one I've seen running between like $55 and $65. It's not bad. There is one that is priced higher than this. It's about $100 is usually what I see it running at. And it has linear rails instead of gibs on it. I don't really like gibs. I like linear rails, so that one might be a better option. I might actually buy that one and replace this on here with it and see how that does. This obviously has a lot more left and right than what I need, but it gives you, like, say you got a larger piece, you need a bolt down in it. It does give you more room for the clamps and more room to play with on it. I guess that's about it. I've got a few upgrades that I'm going to start working on here, and I've actually got some repairs that I need to do on this lathe. Probably do several videos coming up on this lathe. It's been a year since I got it and a year since I posted a video on it last. So I guess it's time to show my 1-year update on it. What's broke, what hasn't broke, what I've had to replace, so on and so forth. Alright guys, well, I hope you liked the video. If you did, like, subscribe. That'll tell me that people enjoy this, and I'll keep spending late nights down here alone in the basement. Alright, till next time, take care.